Hey, I'm Omar with Patterson Autos. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're having a little bit of fun pretending that I'm a family guy. I don't have kids, but I'm in the CX-9, and this is the one car in its second generation when it was announced that made me consider having kids. I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of fun. Like, I could see myself having a family that I haul everywhere. Sort of crazy talk. Not for me, but it could be for you, right? Maybe you've got 2, even 3 kids. Make this worth having. There's just plenty of space in the second row, third row. Mazda built this with 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot in mind, while keeping this a very tight footprint on the road. So it is a compact third row offering, which is plenty for you and your family. It's fine to take a whole team of coworkers out to lunch if you wanted to. I don't recommend that you go cross country because it is, again, compact, but it's workable, and so it's something where, like I said, you could take your whole team to lunch, no problem. And we're comparing CX-9 versus CX-90, going over a few enhancements from that evolution into the next generation. The CX-9 with premium fuel will get you 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque, which is plenty for a car this size. It's a 4-cylinder Skyactiv engine, so it's very fuel efficient as well, and it just handles great. There's 6 real gears in that automatic transmission, so there's no like CVT droning that you get from some competitors, and it just feels like a lot of fun. I don't have this in sport mode right now. The power feels aplenty. It's always there though, so like if you've got the car full of people, I'm using it right now, I don't know how well you can tell, but if you've got the car full of people, if you've got it packed full of things, if you've got stuff on the roof, then the sport mode will hold a lower gear for you to make it easier to accelerate, makes it more fun. It gives you more control too, so just know that that's there. There's paddle shifters behind the steering wheel, which let me downshift as I'm approaching this stoplight. Again, just an absolute blast. I prefer the feel of a manual drive just because, you know, you're in control and whatnot. But here you've got that sport mode, you've got paddle shifters, you have an accelerator pedal kickdown switch at the bottom of the accelerator, which are all great tools in your arsenal to help you get out of trouble when you need to. This is where I want to tell you that this is a third row car, and it's really big, but it has such a nice tight turning radius, and it's so effortless that I can stay in the near lane, no problem. There's that kickdown switch, helps you get out of trouble. Like if there's a semi getting in your lane because it didn't look or whatever, this just helps you find the most acceleration that you can right now. There's also a heads-up driving display, or active driving display as Mazda calls it, that's going to show you your speed. It shows you traffic sign recognition, so you know exactly how far above the speed limit you're going. It shows you your safety notifications as they're going off. And if you have a route entered in your navigation, it'll show you what lane you want to be in, when the highway splits up, for example, or your upcoming turn, which I really like because I don't like having directions spoken through my navigation. I think it interrupts my music and it kills the vibe. So having directions right up there, unbeknownst to my passengers, are keeping me an informed driver, which is always a plus. Acceleration, like I said, no guesswork. The first time that I drove this car, I considered it. I was like, I need an excuse to have a car like this, and that's where I thought maybe I should have kids. If you do have kids, worth mentioning, the second row has doors that open to like almost a 90-degree angle. So it's really easy to load your kids in and out, or for your kids to get in and out. And this will seat either 6 or 7, depending on whether you have a bench in the middle or captain's chairs. If you're worried about safety, don't be. This is an IIHS top safety pick with Mazda's iActive Sense suite of safety features. So smart brake support, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, smart brake support are all going to be standard, keeping you and your family safe on the road. By the way, it's a dynamic turbo, so it's not the kind of thing where you have to wait for it to wind, spool, and release. It just constricts the airflow so that you're getting more pressure out of it right away, and it gives you a much more linear acceleration. I love that about this. So between safety, comfort, convenience, this car just hits it right on all the corners, and it corners really well too. So it might be a really great option for you if you have a family that calls for a third row vehicle. Right now I'll be speaking a little bit more distinguishedly because I'm in a CX-90, a more refined evolution of the Mazda CX-9. The CX-90 comes as either a plug-in hybrid or a mild hybrid, and the mild hybrid will get you that 2.5 liter engine that came in the CX-9 minus the turbo, but it has an electric motor to tango with, and it makes acceleration an absolute breeze. If you go with the mild hybrid, the non-plug-in, you'll get an inline 6 turbo, which just you know, it hums super smooth if you know that about inline sixes. There are things in your arsenal that you don't need to use, like that accelerator pedal kickdown switch that was in the CX-9. It's in here, but you don't really need it because you get so much power out of the hybrid powertrain. Also worth noting, not in the plug-in hybrid, but the mild hybrid, when you go with the Turbo S option, you go from a 35-pound towing capacity, which is the same on the CX-9, to a 5,000-pound towing capacity. That's massive. And this is a bigger car than the CX-9 by a little bit. It has a much longer wheelbase, but it still has a super tight turning radius. So in this case, even if the far lane were closed, I'd be able to stay in this one without knocking a single cone over. This also features a much bigger active driving display, which projects information on your windshield, your speed, your safety features as they're going off, your navigation controls. And speaking of navigation, the infotainment screen is way bigger than the CX-9. There's a full digital dash cluster, which looks a lot nicer and of course does a lot more dynamic things depending on the drive mode that you enter. The plug-in hybrid gets you 26 miles of all-electric range, or almost 400 combined. The CX-90 also gives you more versatility with the seating configuration. The CX-90 could seat 6, 7, or 8, because you could get 3 in the back and 3 in the middle. By the way, those advanced safety features that came on the CX-9, those are further enhanced on the CX-90, so you'll have cross-traffic braking. If somebody's coming in and like turning, right, maybe they didn't signal, you didn't realize that, your car will sense that, and it just keeps you a little bit safer on the road. A little bit more attention to detail in the craftsmanship of this cabin as well, so it just feels a lot more premium. You can tell that Mazda's trying to climb into that almost luxury space. Really good visibility all around. The greenhouse has very nice big windows. I'm not really finding much of a blind spot. So what happens when your battery runs out? Well, 2 things. You could either charge it while you go with the little button that I've got here in the center console, or you'll be running strictly on gas, which won't get you all of the performance as the 2 working in tandem, but it's still plenty to get you around. Little traffic is no problem when you have an engine and a motor doing work for you. The infotainment system screen is like really big, but it's really close to your line of vision without actually obstructing your view. So if you need to take a look at a map or whatever it is, it's a quick glance and you've got the info that you need. Even though they made that infotainment screen so much bigger, they've kept the air conditioning controls as actual physical buttons, which I really appreciate. I really don't like to dig around in menus just to change the temperature or something. Here the car's warning me that I'm getting a little close to the car in front of me. And if I didn't intervene with the brake, it would have told me to brake, and if I didn't react to that, then it would have hit the brake for me, which is pretty cool. Right, this is a fun and curvy little neighborhood that I just had to hit because I love the way that this car corners and hugs curves. I mean, I don't know if you can see how fast I'm going. Let's just say that the yellow speed sign does not agree with it. Just super flat handling. It drives like a 3-row Miata. It's rear-wheel biased all-wheel drive, so it just pushes through curves. And since it is an all-wheel drive car, standard by the way, as is the CX-9, you're not going to be afraid driving in the rain like you would be driving a rear-wheel drive car. It's so quiet in here, especially when you're in EV mode and it's just the electric motor working, not the gasoline engine. Also the time that you're getting the best fuel efficiency because you're wasting 0 gas. Unless you go with a non-plug-in hybrid, in which case there's no EV mode, but you still get killer fuel efficiency and all the fun. Thank you again for watching. If you're in the market for a 3rd-row car, CX-9 was a great option. CX-90 is even more refined, and if you want to drive one, we'll be happy to show it to you at Tustin Mazda or Huntington Beach Mazda under the Patterson Autos group. By the way, if you like this, hit the like button. If you want to say something, put it in the comments, and if you want to see more, please subscribe.